Welcome, Screen Junkies. I'm Roth Cornet, joined as always by Mr. Billy Business, and we are so delighted today to have a very special guest, MoviePass CEO Mitch Lowe.
My pleasure. Anytime you can talk movies, I'm there.
For those of you that don't know, and most of you probably do, MoviePass is a subscription service in which you can pay under $10 a month to watch one movie a day per month, which is pretty amazing. And for movie fanatics like ourselves, seems like a dream come true, but some questions have come up around it.
Well, first, I just want to ask, on paper, this concept, great for us, but it seems nuts. It seems like the biggest risk of all time. How did the idea of MoviePass, how did that even get going?
Yeah, well, MoviePass had been around for, I think 5 years before I joined the company, and it was built for the kind of frequent moviegoer. So it was priced at $35, $45 in some markets. And when I came in, just to give you a kind of a backup a little bit, when I keep hearing, from exhibitors that they have poor quarters because of bad films, I just go, come on, there's a lot of great movies out there. Maybe it's because people in the last 10 years who've grown up with subscription maybe want a different way to go to movies. So I joined the company and I explored, who really wants to go more often? And it turns out it's not the 11% of consumers who already go 18 times a year and more. It's the 200 million people in the United States who only go 3 or 4 times a year. I think the average is 4.5 times a year. And when you think about it, they're spending $40 or $50 a year on buying movie tickets. So we did all these tests. How could we get them to go twice as often, which means spending more, but not spending so much that they would say, it's not worth it, I'll just do it one at a time. So the idea was is if we priced it at $9.95, yes, we're going to get all those people who are going to go to $100 or $200 worth of movies a month and going to cost us a ton of money. But over time, we're going to get tens of millions of people who only go 4 times before joining us and now go 10 times. And our goal really is to re-energize the movie business. And by the way, our model is not abnormal. Netflix borrowed $2 billion last year to pay for content. That's what we're paying for. We're paying for content. Amazon has lost money all the way up until this year. So these days, when you want to build, the beauty of startups is you can start a business on an idea and technology and people, but it costs a lot of money. In the old days, you used to raise $100 million and then spend it and grow the business. The way we're doing it is we're just losing tens of millions of dollars every month while we build this business, and eventually we get to profitability.
So let's talk about profitability, because that has been one of the big questions that has come up for folks, which is, if you look at something like Amazon or even Netflix, there's certainly a path forward that they see in terms of people are going to continue to subscribe to Prime. They're going to buy their toilet paper and watch their movies on Amazon, if you're me. And, certainly with Netflix, they're reaching further and further globally into the subscriber base, and eventually will stop spending on content because their library will be so large. For you.
Do you believe that's true, by the way, that Netflix can stop buying new content?
I absolutely do not.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
However,
I was the co-founding executive. Ted Sarandos was my video store rep. So yes,
oh, wow.
I agree.
Oh, wow.
I agree.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Oh, do you guys talk? Okay. Do you guys talk?
I was with him the other day.
So do you talk about how Netflix is positioned in this field versus and aligned with MoviePass, and if they work together or not?
Completely unaligned. The Netflix folks believe that going to the movie theater is dying. And in fact, they do everything they can to undermine the credibility and the kind of joy of going to the movies. They want everybody to watch it on your iPhone or watch it on your iPad or your smart television. But I can walk you through the economics, because the whole concept of an all-you-can-eat subscription seems in many ways counterintuitive. You would expect everybody to go 3 or 4 times a month. We're spending $30, $40 per person, and we're only collecting 10, right? That's probably what everybody thinks.
Yes.
Okay. That is true for a small segment of the population. But when we get those 89% of the United States moviegoers who only watch 4.5 films a year, according to the MPAA, when they join MoviePass, they go twice as often. They're now going to 9 films a year. That's 3/4 of a movie a month. You get enough of those to offset the active moviegoers who are going 3 times a month, and you end up about 1.2, 1.3 movies per month. The average cost of a ticket is a little bit below $9 across the United States. If we get more and more of our subscribers in the Midwest and Omaha, where the average cost of goods is lower, and we get a small percentage of the exhibitors to give us a discount, the same bulk discount they give Costco. You know, you can go into Costco and buy $100 worth of tickets for 25% discount. Mm-hmm. So if we got the 25% discount and our average cost of goods was, say, $9, you lower it by 20%, now we're paying $7 or $8 a ticket. Our customers, on average, will see 1.2, 1.3 movies. We're $1 or $2 underwater. We're costing us $11 or so per month, and we're bringing in 10. But then, this is the cool part, is our customers go twice as often, and the movies they go to are the small films, the under $50 million films that studios can't market. They spend money here, they spend money there, but it's inefficient. We are earning money from studios today where they're paying us. We think we're going to earn $6 per month per subscriber in a combination of marketing, advertising. You know, we have this whole vision of a night at the movies. So I think the big kind of misunderstanding is people think that that when you do an all-you-can-eat, everybody overeats. Mm-hmm. You know, it's really, there's a small group that do, and if you price it right, in fact, as at Netflix, when we lowered the price, we made more money because we attracted more casual users. Because, you know, in the buy mail days at Netflix, we had the same issue. We had to pay $1.25 every time we shipped a disc. We had to pay 90 cents shipping, and for $15.95, you could have seen 60 movies a month. And if you watch 60 movies a month, that would cost Netflix $120 and only collecting 16. It's exactly the same issue. It's like health insurance. When you launch a health insurance program, the first people who join are the people who have to go to the hospital right away. So believe me, we know how to make this model work. And the bottom line is that more people will go back to the movies and get back into the habit and explore great films.
So one of the things that we've seen a lot and a lot of people are worried about is, does MoviePass kind of set this unrealistic price point of what a movie should cost, what going to a movie should cost, and that fear that some theater owners have, like, well, if MoviePass goes away, I can't offer that same deal.
Right.
That could be a death knell for movies. Do you?
Right. I totally agree. That is exactly what we're doing. We are saying that the cost of going to a movie has gotten so out of hand, people are saying, I'm just going to wait and watch it on Netflix. Mm-hmm. So they still go to see Star Wars. They see the big Marvel hits. You may be a Wes Anderson fan, so you'll go see all of his films. But you won't see, you'll see I, Tonya or Lady Bird, and you'll say, I'll just wait and see it, when it's on Netflix or HBO or Hulu or one of those services. So you end up missing the great, big screen experience. Yes. For the last 18 years, every single year, exhibitors have raised their prices. And you know what's happened? Transactions have gone down. What's worse is the people who are going less often are millennials. People under the age of 34 have decreased their going to the movies by over 20% just in the last 4 years. That's what we're reversing. Over 50% of our subscribers are millennials, people like you and maybe me. Not really. I can only dream. But it's heartwarming that people worry about this. But this is exactly what Blockbuster said to us at Redbox. How in the world could you be renting movies for $1 when we're charging $4.50? It's kind of like, don't look at that guy behind the curtain. We want to keep taking every dollar out of you that we can.
Well, you mentioned talking with Ted Sarandos of Netflix and the idea that Netflix feels that the theater-going experience is dying. It seems like most of the studios certainly agree. Disney is launching their own streaming service. They are in the process of acquiring Fox to get that library and are doubling down, seemingly future-driven towards streaming. But you've also aligned with a streaming service and are now going into co-acquiring films. So I'm curious what the overall plan is for the service. Is it to acquire a movie and then promote it on to your consumer base in the theatrical experience and the streaming service, or how does that all work together?
Yeah, well, one correction is the studios don't believe the theatrical experience is over. Netflix does. And I don't know what the other streaming services believe. I believe they're completely wrong. More and more people want to have that experience, be around other people. Imagine comedies and you're laughing by yourself. It's just kind of hollow. So studios do believe in the future of theaters. What our plan is with content, before we went to Sundance, like I said, all of our customers are doubling their consumption, and it's all small films. So just before going to Sundance, we saw an article that said that Amazon and Netflix were going to cut back on their support for independent film. They were going to buy fewer films. And we thought, geez, that's what our customers want. And so we decided to raise some money and promote the fact that we were going to partner with great film distributors like The Orchard. We don't know that business, but we know our customers want those films. So we thought we'll buy a couple films a year, we'll partner with experienced exhibitors, and then we'll promote them to our customer base. So we were very selective. We co-invested in American Animal. It's going to be released by Orchard in June. And we'll buy selectively films and then promote them. It's really aimed at doing a couple things, bringing kind of filmmakers closer to our subscriber base. We hope to have exclusive screenings for our subscribers. We hope to bring the filmmakers out to communities. In Omaha we have a huge subscriber base. We want to bring filmmakers out to those communities. So that's why we did it. It's more to just support. But it's the streaming partnership we did. One of our shareholders owns Fandom, which is a doc and indie foreign film streaming site. And that was really an offer to Costco customers, and then separately our own offer to bundle both a year of Fandom with a year of MoviePass. But other than having a common shareholder, we have no ongoing relationship with Fandom. We love them, but we're not doing streaming.
Okay.
I do want to ask, one of the big things that everyone's talking about, especially around MoviePass, is like your incredible ability to gather all of this data, this amazing data that probably has never really truly been that much available, especially to movie studios, to know exactly what to make, and for the people who are for sure going to go see it, when, where, who.
Yeah.
How big a part of data mining is that in your business strategy?
It's a real big part, and the way we will use it is to help the studios know who wants to watch a particular film. The worst part about making movies is that it's very inefficient to find that customer who's going to love it and get them to the theater. Companies like Netflix, know, and they email them, they'll pop it up in their app. And that's the kind of data we're building so that we can work on behalf of the studios to find that one person without spending a lot of money who will love a movie. I mean, imagine Warner Brothers has no idea who 75% of the people that saw any of the Batman. So anytime they're going to release a Batman, they have to spend $50–100 million marketing in order to find those people. They should know who they are, and we will know who those are, at least for our subscriber base.
How much are the studios, and this is something we were just talking about, wondering why the studios weren't actually already investing more in getting that information because marketing costs are, as you say, for a film, especially a film of that size, astronomical, sometimes as much or more than the budget of the film. So are they investing with you yet in that regard, or What do you see the future?
Yeah, no, we have a dozen distributors and studios paying us to help them market their films. If you just look at the titles that are in the Best Picture box office, or the Best Pictures for the Academy Awards this Sunday, we drove huge demand for those. Today, we're buying 6% of all the movie tickets in the country every single week. And when we promote a title like I, Tonya, like Lady Bird, like many of the other Academy Award nominees, we double that. We're buying 12% of the nation's box office. And that's all because we promote it. And of course, in many cases, the studios are paying us to do that. In other cases, we're doing it as a trial, a case study to prove what our impact is.
So just returning, just to totally clarify the revenue streams, I mean, you've explained, and I sort of understand that idea that, hey, not everybody is going to be crazy and go to 4 movies a weekend like some of us, you know? And they may just go once a year and sort of like, or twice, and that
10.
Or 10, yeah. Well, some people just go twice, but they probably won't get MoviePass if they are just going twice.
Yeah.
So I get that, and the idea is eventually that will work. Yes.
Once it'll take us a year. It'll take us a year.
Right, because you have to kind of broaden out. You've got the crazies like myself right now, and you're going to broaden out and get more general audiences.
Yeah.
So that's one revenue stream. Another revenue stream is this data and marketing. Yes. And then if you're acquiring, is it you acquire a film? A revenue, you market that film. They go to the theater. And so essentially on one movie, you're potentially making money from the studio distributor marketing it as a co-financer and from MoviePass. Am I making that up?
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And then when we license it to HBO or Netflix, we'll make money there. We'll get our share of that. If it has international rights, we'll get money there. So there's all kind, we believe too that, when you go to a movie, whether it's during the day or in the evening, it's part of a much bigger spend. You're going to dinner, you might have drinks, you might need a babysitter, you might take a lift to get there. And so we're building a whole ecosystem around your night or day at the movies. And our payment system, which is the Red MasterCard, we can turn on and off for specific credit card machines by merchant class. So you might be driving along and we might pop up, you might be on Wilshire Boulevard and we'll pop up a note that says, boy, there's a really great movie, it's the new Wes Anderson movie that's starting, opening in March, but in a couple weeks, you're driving along, it pops up and says, there's this great Wes Anderson movie. Would you like to go? By the way, there is a Chipotle right next door. Use our payment system and get free chips. And so we're building this whole ecosystem. It's kind of like we're kind of evolving from a Orbitz or Travelocity for movie theaters to then becoming open table for your night at the movies. And that's another revenue stream. Besides selling you things, we know the minute you walk out of the movie theater, and we can make offers to you, buy the digital soundtrack, buy a digital copy of a film by the same director, those kinds of things.
Now, I'm a big fan of MoviePass. I have MoviePass. A lot of our viewers, big fans of MoviePass. AMC has not been a big fan of MoviePass. There's been a few stories that have come out. Famously, MoviePass was blocked from a handful of theaters. What's kind of your relationship currently with AMC and some of these other theaters? I know you guys have made deals with some smaller independent theaters on ticket cuts, concessions. How is your negotiations going with a lot of these theaters? Do most of them want to play ball with MoviePass?
Well, the independents do. They see it as a great competitive, advantage, a way to compete against the Regals and AMCs and Cinemarks of the world. So we hired a woman, Bernadette McCabe, who was one of the senior execs at Screen Vision, and she has very good relations. She just brought on a senior executive from Fox to help her signing up the independents. And even some of the mid-size, the 400, the 500 screen chains, you'll see signing up with us. So the top three guys, AMC, Regal, and Cinemark, have a different perspective. They are worried that here is this upstart that is getting between them and their customer. And, no one likes that. The rule of thumb these days is have a close experiential connection with your customer. So they don't like that. Now, they could have done it themselves. The only reason startups exist is because the incumbent players kind of missed the boat. Blockbuster should have never let Netflix succeed, and Marriott and Hilton shouldn't have let Airbnb. It's a common problem of the incumbent players to miss out on a kind of a trend within consumers. And it's this trend I talked about before where, people who grew up on subscription are value conscious, but want accessibility, like subscription. They like the ability to walk out if they don't like it, and they like things exactly the way they want it. But AMC, I really want to have a relationship with AMC. We had a 2-year partnership with AMC, and all the way up until September of last year, we were totally integrated into the point of sale system in AMC theaters in Boston and in Denver. So, I bought 1 million tickets at AMC theaters just in the last 30 days. Our customers spent over $11 million on popcorn and concessions just in the last 30 days, just at AMC. And the same at Regal, and half that at Cinemark. So I'd love nothing better, and I hope in the near future to be able to talk to them. And all we're trying to do is say, we're bringing more people back to your theaters. One of the reasons if you calculate those numbers I just told you, our customer, either we're buying or our customers are buying concessions, equal to $20+ million a month. We're growing at a rate where that'll be 3 times that number by December. So all we're asking is, give us the same bulk discount you give Costco when you sell your tickets. That's all we're asking them to do. And you'll notice there's a big change in AMC's comments. On August 15th, they called us a fringe player and said there's no way we can succeed. In their October earnings call, they said, boy, we're happy to take their money, but we can't imagine how they could be succeeding. Here we are. They just had an earnings call, I believe, today, where when he was asked about his Demons and Dragons, he didn't mention MoviePass. And so, I think at some point or another, if you have if you had an advertiser coming in here and buying $100,000 worth of advertising a month from you, and then said to you, I'll keep spending that $100,000, but I need a 20% discount. Would you say no? Go away, get out of here.
Definitely not. And
Exactly.
if there's an offer out there, I'm certainly open to have that conversation.
Okay.
But I'm curious because I think just from the outside perspective, and MoviePass is a new thing in a very changing and volatile time in this industry, in which it is, ticket sales for movie theaters at a 25-year low. Cost of ticket is up. And so I do think it's one of those things where people are wondering, is 20% of concessions potentially harmful to especially the independent theater chains that are struggling so hard?
Yeah.
And how do you respond to some of those criticisms that they're not really in a position to say no to MoviePass,
right?
The way AMC maybe was or will not be in the future,
right?
But that 20% from their concessions may really hurt their bottom line.
Yeah. No, it's none of those people who would say that have ever talked to us. They would read that in the media or read that out there. So here's the real story. We want the theater to make more money, and we want a small part of the extra profit. We would never want them to be less whole than they are today. And so just walk through these numbers. Our customers, before they joined MoviePass, spent $50 a year at your theater. Now they're spending $120. We're buying, or let's even say 100. So that's $50 more. That's at 50% margin. You're going from making $25 off that customer to now $50 of margin. They used to spend $5 on each of those 5 trips on concessions, $25. At 80% gross margin, you made another $20. Now your customers are going 10 times, spending $10. Now you're making $80. Now you're making $130 off of what used to be about $45. Would you give someone, if they could offer that to you, $40 of that? That's all we're asking is just give us, you are going to make more money with MoviePass even after giving us 20% of concessions and a discount on tickets. Cinemark has a program with a 20% discount on concessions. It's clearly, they make 85% profit off of popcorn. It doesn't cost very much to make that stuff. So, but we will sit down with any exhibitor and we'll prove to them that they'll make more money with us than they would without us.
Yeah, you mentioned Cinemark, and I wanted to bring that up. Cinemark, rolling out their movie club.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a MoviePass light because you only get one movie per month for, I think it's like $8.99.
$8.95.
Do you see some of these other big guys, AMC, Regal, trying to kind of copy the MoviePass kind of experience? And do you see any of these like actual viable competition to MoviePass?
Yeah, that is one of the problems when you have a big company with lots of overhead. You can't deliver the kind of product a startup had because you're trying to protect your income. You're worried, so you always, this is exactly what Blockbuster, to combat Redbox's $1 a night, had 99-cent Tuesdays, and that was their response. So I think it's kind of a pathetic response. I am sure each of the exhibitors will come up with some form of subscription. It might be $19.95 and it's only used on the weekdays. They have to recognize that consumers want choice and want different options. And the loyalty programs that give you discounts off of concessions or a free soda here and there just aren't enough. They're only really used by the real heavy moviegoer, and they're not attracting that 200 million people in the U.S. who really want to go more often but just want a different deal.
So I have a question. Just in this landscape, there's such a move towards content creation and distribution. Obviously, that's the Netflix model. It looks like that's what Disney's going to do with their streaming service. Amazon certainly. This is very nascent for you, but as I'm talking to you, it feels very much like MoviePass is the answer to save the theatrical experience, specifically for independent films, and that's what you're interested in acquiring. So is there a world in which Lionsgate is currently up for grabs? Is there a world in which you move more in that direction in terms of getting behind the independent content in a creative capacity and distributing in theaters specifically?
Yeah, I think so. I think I was telling you before the show, I love movies. I go to film festivals. I'll watch 20 movies over a 4-day period. And the hard part is I can't distinguish which ones I saw afterwards. But we really love independent films and think people out in the public really want to see, there's blockbusters, those are great, but they're not, the stories are weak and, they're just not that great. The really good films are made by the independent filmmaker, many of which are here in LA. And so, yeah, I think we'll continue to acquire the rights to movies. We'll continue to put out titles and support them. The key is we have this ability to get people to go see movies. And, as I say to people, it's not because we're marketing geniuses, it's because our customers have no cost of taking our recommendation. So we're able to recommend some great films that people would not have seen at the theater and get them to go.
Do you see, I don't know if this is possible or not, a situation in which MoviePass applies specifically to some of those smaller films, but then maybe it's offset because the larger event films are not included, or does it just need to be all of a piece?
It's, for the customer to get, our subscriber to get full value, we've got to offer everything. And while the theaters and the movies are really our inventory, and you might have more of more studios or more titles in one market and less in another, because we're always testing and experimenting. We'll always probably be split 50-50, where half of it will be the big blockbusters and half of it will be smaller. Just over the last 2 weeks, we bought over 1 million tickets to Black Panther. So, our customers, still see the big films too.
Oh, well, sure. I
Yeah.
mean, I think literally
Everybody saw that.
Yeah, everyone saw Black Panther multiple times.
More than once, right?
So a year ago, a lot of people didn't know what MoviePass was. A year later, my mom has MoviePass.
Awesome.
It's become such a big thing. Where do you kind of see MoviePass going in a year? Can you give us a sneak peek of kind of what's the next thing for MoviePass?
Yeah, I kind of learned to dream big and without all the science behind it. I remember in the early days of Netflix, we used to make bets of how big we could get. And I was one of the bigger bets, and mine was 1.7 million subscribers. And of course, we all know that was a bad guess. It's over 105 million. And so I believe we're on a path to 5 million subscribers by the end of the year. We're a little above 2 right now, so it continues to grow. I think now there's a real good chance that we could get to 20 million or more subscribers in the U.S. and represent 40% of all the box office in the U.S. And that's exactly why exhibitors are nervous, and because they think that we're going to use that, for evil rather than supporting the ecosystem. And what hopefully they'll find is, and we're prepared to do long-term agreements to make them comfortable, is what we really want to do is figure out a plan where we take a small part of the increased profit. Because if they're healthier, the experience is going to be better. You're going to have better food. You're going to have cleaner theaters. You're going to have better picture and sound. And that's good for us. We don't do well if they do poorly. So I think you'll find us playing a really positive, constructive role with theaters, whether it's AMC, or the Landmark down the street.
Any plans to? Oh, sorry to cut you off.
No.
I was just going to ask. Any plans to integrate some a new plan or add on to the plan to include IMAX or luxury loungers, dine-in theaters, anything?
Or change the price point or have different. That's I think what I was trying to get with different packages depending on the price point, so that one package may get you independent films and one package may get you the indies and the blockbusters and so forth. Family packages.
Yeah, that's exactly right. On our tech roadmap, we have Bring a Friend. We have couples packages, family packages. We have premium product packages, whether it's Real D or IMAX or the luxury theaters with the higher price. So you'll see a whole range of new offerings and new products that will kind of be tailored to various folks. We have as we integrate with into the point of sale with our partner theaters, which today is only around 5-6% of the tickets we buy. At those theaters, you can pick your seats. You don't have to go all the way to the theater to get that seat and get the ticket. And our customers love that experience. So we found when we do that integration, Studio Movie Grill is an example, Goodrich is another example, MJR, others. We quadruple the frequency of our customers going to those locations. So when when a partner becomes a partner and the offset is this small discount, they get a flood of customers coming in as a result.
And you are, just to clarify, because it was reported in terms of, I was curious about the potential of a streaming being an add-on to the service. That is an absolute no to streaming at all being.
Well, actually, when we build a big subscriber base of movie goers and people who love entertainment, it is a possibility that at some point or another we'll create a bigger bundle that might include a streaming service. And maybe it's in partnership with somebody else, or maybe it's on our own. But the idea first is to really re-energize theatrical moviegoing, and then who knows what you do when you have we'll already be buying them food and concessions and hopefully helping them get a babysitter. So who knows where it'll go from there.
So that option remains open. Another quick question I had to clarify, because I think data mining and the idea of data mining is certainly something that we've all submitted to but are also scared of.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about collecting data and utilizing that data, what does that mean? I think for a lot of people that could sound like, well, you're going to take my personal information and
it's scary.
Share it with Warner Brothers.
Yeah. So one is like, I actually was the head of the trade association for video rental stores when we wrote the video privacy laws. So the VPPA is something I'm very familiar with. So we will never, in fact, it's against the law, to share personal information where you can connect an individual to what they watch and where they live and all those things. So we don't share data, we don't sell data. What we do is we do use that data. We use the information about the movies you see and where your your path from your home to your work, to the movies, to kind of create a better experience for you. And yes, it's intrusive from the point of view is that we know a lot about you, so we can make good recommendations, and that's the deal we're offering. It's like, we're going to give you this amazing deal, but the trade-off is we're going to use the data to give you more relevant offerings, which we hope you'll buy, with which we'll make money. If you don't like it, you should not join.
Right.
It's the same reason, I mean, we all should know Facebook knows everything. And
literally.
You know what? It's free.
Yeah.
That's why it's free. So it's kind of the bargain we all enter into. Our biggest shareholder before we sold half the company in August was a guy, Chris Kelly. He was the chief privacy officer at Facebook. He was the 25th employee. So he kind of built all that, and so he was very instrumental in building our policy such that we're right out front with it. Is that yes, we are going to use the data. No, we are not going to sell the data to anybody else. We're not going to make that data available where people can contact you. We'll contact you, and we'll tell you about all kinds of stuff, and you can turn those off. But that's the kind of the bargain.
Right. So it's when I'm on Facebook and say I've been Google searching a Godzilla toy, just as an example, and then it chases me every time I'm on Facebook. This is the in real life version of that, where my phone is like, you're driving by Chipotle, you might enjoy some free chips, yes,
Yeah.
and this movie.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't I?
Why
Frankly,
wouldn't you?
they're
Right.
delicious.
Right.
My last question, I feel like you've already answered, because the big question coming out of today that I wanted to know was MoviePass the Grim Reaper, or was it the defibrillator paddles for the movie going experience? And it sounds like MoviePass, just at the end of the day, you want people to go see movies.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. There's nothing I like more than sitting in the theater with a bunch of people around, either getting scared or laughing. And like I said, I just got tired of people saying that going to the movies is dying. And when I see people watching a great piece of art on a small iPhone, it just drives me crazy. And I just think, if I was an artist making a film, I'll take some money from people watching it there, but I want people to see it on the big screen, where I made the film to be made. And so it's kind of, I dream of being creative, but I can't do it, but I just imagine that.
Have you talked to Christopher Nolan? Because I feel like he would be in great agreement with that. I have to say that, just as somebody that observes this and does care passionately as well about movies and entertainment, my theory over the last couple of years was that going to the theaters was becoming more and more rarefied. It would be like going to a play, where you would go see the big theatrical experience and simply everything else would be VOD.
Yeah.
Do you think you're going to turn it? So you do. That you think you're going to turn it all around?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, we're seeing it. People who have MoviePass cards, just ask them, are they going more often or less often or the same? And I don't think you'll find anybody who says I'm going less often. And
I know we've talked about it, but it is that big question of, at the end of the day, this is setting the standard for what we think it should cost us to go to the movies.
Well, yes, but you're, but we are still paying, our average price is over $11. So we're paying, a lot of money so that you can enjoy the films. And the offset is we're going to make a lot of money off of you. And over time, we're going to get enough people who don't go so crazy that they offset the heavy moviegoers.
All right, well, non-crazies out there, we're counting on you to offset persons like ourselves that are the maniacs that will go every single week to the movies. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
It's been a real pleasure to talk with you. We really value this experience, so thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thanks.
And a big cheers to movies everywhere because we all do love them. Thank you guys for joining us. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and we will see you next time on Screen Junkies News.